I bump into people fairly regularly, and I'm talking daily, possibly weekly, who when I bump into them, of my generation, they will talk about the day, exactly where they were, what they were doing, how they felt, and the stories of that are unbelievable. My father was there, obviously, and my wife's father, Jack, he was also there. They were the main people who were supporting me from a family perspective. And of course, I think obviously people from West Ham United who I'd played with, and the manager Ron Greenwood, much of the credit goes to him on how he taught me to be a centre forward, quite frankly, because what people don't know that prior to the World Cup and the early days at West Ham, I was a midfield player, and he changed my position, career and life before we played team on a Monday night. He came over to me at Chapel Heath, and I was struggling then, playing in the reserves, playing cricket, and he said, "We've got a game tonight at Upton Park." I said, "I understand that." He said, "I want to try you up front," and that was it. What I did in those days, and it happened quite a bit. I was playing cricket and football, and trying to do both, when I look back, was almost impossible. Clubs don't finish training till they start training in July. Cricket doesn't finish till September, so you've got a gap. And I was doing that for 2 or 3 years. So I'm coming back after finishing cricket in September, not fit, in a playing midfield, and Ron Greenwood came over, as I've said, and said, "I want to try you up front tonight." From a standing start in a new position, not fit, I played those 27 games, scored 14 goals, which, when you look back, and then that was 62, 63, 63-4, we win the Cup Winners' Cup in 65 and the World Cup. He was such a brilliant coach, and much of how I played and scored goals for the national side, we talked about the final, were a direct correlation to the fantastic work he did as a coach. He was just years ahead of his time. And I just think that so much credit should be given to him in changing my life, really, just simply by changing my position. I said to him many years later, what did you see in me? I was quite two-footed. My dad taught me to kick my left foot in the garden. So I'd scored a couple of goals in a Youth Cup final in Amsterdam once. So I had scored goals. But he said to me, as a midfield player, he said, "You like getting forward, but you didn't like getting back," was his joking response to why he selected me as a centre forward. But the work we did at West Ham, which related to some of the goals for England, and having 3 players, of course, from West Ham to play for England, West Ham fans quite rightly say West Ham won the World Cup. Not 3 players, just 3 players, the captain and both goal scorers. I don't talk much about it, really. It comes up from time. I joke about it, if a picture comes up with me, and I might just show it to the kids, and I'll jokingly say, "Do you remember that? That's me. I scored a goal once," or something really stupid. That's just how we are as a family, and I wouldn't change that. And that's just exactly how we are. I bump into people fairly regularly, and I'm talking daily, possibly weekly, who when I bump into them, of my generation, they will talk about the day, exactly where they were, what they were doing, how they felt, and the stories of that are unbelievable, of what they were doing on the day, where they were, how important it was, saying it's the biggest day, the greatest day of their lives, as an English person. Not necessarily just an English football fan, but people who were not really into football outside of that still feel that was such a great day because of England being unbelievably successful worldwide. I think it's so important that this new colorised version is being shown to a younger generation. Although I do understand sometimes when I meet parents and grandparents with grandchildren who they would tell me that they showed that game, they watched the game with a youngster, 8, 9, 10 years of age, wanting to ensure that their kids or grandchildren have an opportunity to see the game. So people are watching it anyway. But I think it is quite important. That it's just it's amazing really 60 years we haven't won it since. That's quite remarkable. I think, again, looking at the unbelievable characters, I've touched on them quite a bit in this, the strength of the characters, the individuals, individually, not just as a group. If you take any one individuals of those and you start talking about pressure or being a bit uptight, not many of them would be like that. There's not somebody and occasionally you get this in life, in groups of people in team where something's happening in life or in business, and you talk to somebody, and I've been in business for a long time, and you can sense that they are a little bit uptight about that particular situation in business or anything. But if you were to talk to individually that group of players, they wouldn't be sort of buckling under any thoughts of being a bit nervous. That was the sort of people we had. And that's the sort of people and personality you have if you are going to be ultimately successful in not only in football but in life as well. Such strong characters as individuals, but as a group, putting those tough people together in a group togetherness, you can imagine how strong they would become in all situations in relation to the game itself, the first goal going down. Some teams, players, individuals would start to crack up a little bit, and not for 1 second during all those tough things during that game. Anyone where you say, well, he's struggling a bit, he's getting, he's weakening a bit in this thing. Not for 1 second would anyone individually or collectively would have buckled. And you need that kind of behaviour if you're going to be ultimately successful. Well, hopefully the next generation and generations to come have the opportunity to look at the film, see the players, hear about their individual stories, how they were, what people can talk about them, and learn a great lesson on teamwork, behaviour, camaraderie. Is such an important part of all our lives, and I think that's what the young people of today can look at that film, look at the discussions on how it's happening, and glean a great deal from that period.